and welcome to my virtual gardening program. Today I'll be showing you how to create a kitchen herb garden. My name is Diane Jaroch and I work at the Irvin L. Young Memorial Library in Whitewater, Wisconsin. Today I'm going to show you which herbs you can plant together in the same planters, which herbs don't like to be planted with other plants, and I will show you how to plant them, how to care for them once you have them planted. First thing you want to do when you're thinking about creating a kitchen herb garden is to figure out where in your home you would like to have your pots of herbs. Location does not really matter as long as you are able to provide the plants with 4 hours of sunlight every day. So you could have your plants in one area but move them to sunlight during the day so they get sunshine. Once you have figured out what plants you want, and please, when you're looking for herbs, be sure and pick the herbs that you know you're going to use. There's no sense in purchasing plants that you won't ever use. So you want to go out and figure out which plants that you use the most and go and purchase some of those. The next step is pots. You need to figure out what type of pot you're going to put your herbs in. You want one that's deep enough because herbs do take, the roots of the herbs take over the pot, will take over the whole pot within one growing season. You also want to make sure that the pots you get drain very well so that your herbs aren't overwatered or underwatered. So the next step is to figure out, you purchased your herbs, which herbs that you're going to put together. I'm going to get my notes here so that I can tell you exactly which herbs work well together. The Mediterranean herbs that you can grow together are sage, thyme, rosemary, marjoram, oregano, and lavender. Those plants like a drier soil. And I have 3 of those that I'm going to plant together today. I have thyme, I have oregano, and I have marjoram. Other herbs that can be planted together are tarragon, cilantro, basil, and parsley. The thing you need to remember though about parsley is that it is a biennial plant, so after 2 years it will die back and you might have to replace it. Those group of herbs prefer their soil to be a little more moist. That's why they grow together well. Now you never want to grow mint with other plants. Mint always needs to be planted alone. Mint tends to take over the other plants in your pot, so you don't want to put that in with other plants. If you're also going to have like spearmint or lemon mint, those you don't want to grow together because they can cross-pollinate and you could end up with a very interesting tasting plant. So we go out, we purchase our plants, we bring them back, now we're ready to grow them. You want to get potting mix. Potting mix works really well. It's made for container plants. It also won't compact over time, and it makes for so that the plants don't take over and that the soil won't erode away. So let's get started. The 3 I'm going to grow are, in one plant I'm going to grow thyme. This is thyme. This is oregano. And this is marjoram. When you go to put them in the pots, you want to kind of think about the height of the plants. You wouldn't want to put like 2 large plants, like I have the basil here and I have tarragon. They're taller than the other plants, so I wouldn't want to put them in with really short plants. I also have parsley here. So I'm going to plant the basil, the parsley, and the tarragon together because they will even out and they won't overpower each other in the pot. I have these 3 here which are smaller, so they will go together well. The oregano is a little taller and wider, so I'm going to put it in the middle and the other 2 on the side of it. Okay, I'm going to move some things out of the way here so that you can watch and see how I'm going to plant the herbs. I'm going to start with the basil, the oregano, and the tarragon. First thing I'm going to do, this is my pot. It's pretty deep. I've got drainage holes in it so I know that it will drain well. Got my potting mix here. And I've got some tools. I've got gardening gloves, and I have several items to use to dig with. You can use a spoon, good old spoon, plastic spoon, a wooden spoon, pretty much anything that you can dig a hole with, or your hands. I prefer to use my hands, so that's what I'm going to do. I will put gloves on though, so that I don't make too much of a mess. Got my gloves on, got the tools if I need them, and I've got my potting soil. So I'm going to take my pot and I'm going to dump some potting soil in. To begin with, you don't want to put a lot of soil in, so you need to make room for the plant themselves. So I've got that filled pretty full, and now I'm going to place my plants in there. The thing you want to remember is when you put the dirt in, when you're done, to leave a ½ inch between the top of the planter and the level of the dirt. That way you leave room for the plant to settle in the pot, and also you leave room for watering the plant. I'm going to take my little basil, and this is the basil. It's already got some little blooms on it, and it's very fragrant. I'm going to take it out of the pot, grab it at the bottom by the end of the roots. You don't want to harm the plant or the roots. Pull it right out. And now I'm going to make a little hole in my planter here and stick that right in there. Once I get all three in there, then I'll go back and I'll add more dirt to it. Next up, actually I'm going to save the middle plant, the parsley, for last. This is my tarragon. You can see it's kind of tall. It doesn't have much of an odor to it. And we're going to pull that right out. And we're going to just set that right in there. Now I've got my parsley. This one is a curled parsley. There are different varieties of parsley. So I've got the parsley out. I'm going to put him in the middle. There. Now I've got all three plants in my planter. And obviously we need a lot more dirt. Got some dirt in here, so I'm just going to take the dirt, put it around the plants, being sure that I leave ½ inch from the top of the planter to the base of the soil. Just going to use my hands, that way I won't get it all over the plants, not that they really care. Fill in here in the middle. I'm going to put a little more dirt in here. And there. I think that's pretty good. I've left that ½ inch so that I have room for the plants to settle and I have room for watering them. And there you have a planter with herbs. 3 different herbs. They're in one planter. Easy to care for. If you need to move it to sunlight, you're just moving one pot. You're not moving several pots. I'm going to give them some water. We're kind of dry, so now I'm going to water them. And then they'll settle in and they'll end up filling the pot and growing. And when I need some basil, parsley, or tarragon when I'm cooking, I can go right to my own little herb garden and snip some off. When caring for herbs, you do want to make sure that you prune them back at least once a week. As the new growth comes in, prune it back once a week. And as I mentioned before, they do need 4 hours of sunlight. If you don't have sunlight, you can buy grow lights. Those you want to put on your plants 4 to 6 hours a day. You do want to make sure that you're turning the planters so that they get even sunlight. So maybe one day have it one direction, next day turn it. This will give them even growing, and then like if you're constantly putting it in one direction, you don't want the back of the plants to die. There are two ways you can water your plants. You can water them from the top like I just did. The other alternative is you can take a tray, put some small gravel in it. I've got some aquarium rock right here, that would work, or a little pea gravel. Take the tray, fill it with the gravel, and then fill it with water, and then place your pot on top of that. That type then of watering the herbs will absorb the water from the bottom into the roots, and it will only take in the amount of water that it needs. So there's two different ways that you can water your plants. Okay, I'm going to get this one out of the way, and we're going to go on and we're going to plant our other 3 plants. So I have this same type of planter as before, and we're going to fill it with dirt. Got a lot of dirt, and yes, I am a messy gardener. Okay, so I'm going to gather up my 3 plants. I'm going to place them where I want them. This is the oregano. It is very fragrant. It smells really good. And we have our marjoram. Oh, they all smell really good. Okay, so this time, because the middle one I'm using, the oregano, is a little larger than the other 2, I'm going to plant it first and I'm going to put it in the middle. This one doesn't want to come out very easily. It's because of the type of plant it is. We're going to see if we can maneuver it a little, shake it out a little bit. There we go. We got it out. Okay. He's pretty dry, so he's going to need a lot of water. You're going to put him right in the middle here. Now we're going to take our marjoram. This is sweet marjoram. And I'm going to plant it over here on this side. And it's kind of nice if you have some herbs that like trail over the side. That makes it look kind of pretty and attractive. Okay. Now we've got our last plant. This is our thyme, so we're gonna put that in there. And we have our thyme, we've got our oregano, we've got our marjoram, and we definitely need more dirt in here. So I'm gonna add some more. These were smaller plants, so we need to fill up a little more space. I'm gonna get some around here. Just adding dirt to it. Trying to get my mess out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Filling in the holes. Being mindful that I keep a ½ inch between the top of my planter and the soil. Okay, we're done. And it's always good they like to be in there snug and tight. So once you get them in, you just kind of push them in a little bit. They like that. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of my soil here. As you can see, we've got our 3 plants. We've got our marjoram and our oregano and our thyme. Got that cleaned up. And now it's time to water them. I'm going to get my gloves off, get my water, give them a nice drink of water. And they're going to be very happy that they are out of those little pots and in bigger pots to grow. There we go. Now we have our herb planters. Got 2 of these. I'll put them where they get 4 hours of sunlight every day. For now, I'm going to put them outside because they'll get plenty of sunshine, and I'll put them out with my other plants so that I remember to water them. And then when the weather starts to get cold here in Wisconsin, I will bring them in and put them in a sunny place. Now, if you want to like liven up your flower pots a little bit, you can make plant markers. I have one here that I made with a cork and a chopstick, and I just painted on the cork, put the name of the plant, basil, and I'm going to stick that in here with my basil. And you can also use a wooden spoon. Paint the name of your plant. This is a tomato for my tomato plant outside. I took a little wooden block and I did this for the radishes. For planters this size, these are really nice. Just little tongue depressors or even popsicle sticks work. I just painted a little color at the top, put the name of them. That way I won't forget what I have. So I'm putting my oregano in there, and I put the one for thyme in there. And I'll have to make some more for my marjoram, my parsley, and my tarragon. So here you have your own kitchen herb garden. You're ready to cook with your own fresh herbs. Thank you for joining me today.